Good afternoon and welcome to the 23rd Flying Training Squadron's Change of Command ceremony. The change of command is a time-honored military tradition that symbolizes the formal transfer of authority and responsibility from one commander to another. Its roots trace back to early military history, including the Roman Legion, where units carried banners unique to their formation. These banners served as visible symbols of unity and leadership, and their presence on the battlefield represented strength and cohesion. That legacy continues today through the passing of the guidon, a symbolic gesture reflecting the transfer of command and the trust placed in a new leader. In view of the unit's personnel, the guidon's handoff is a visible confirmation that the incoming commander has accepted responsibility for the mission, the people, and the legacy of the unit. In that tradition, today, the men and women of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron bid farewell to Lieutenant Colonel Daniel D. Coughlin as he relinquishes command to Lieutenant Colonel Cindy M. Tope. Colonel Lane A. Cook, commander of the 58th Operations Group, will preside over today's ceremony. The commander of troops is Lieutenant Colonel Alex Magnuson, the 23rd Flying Training Squadron's Director of Operations, and I am Captain Joseph D. Simone, your MC for today's ceremony. It is now my distinct pleasure to recognize the distinguished visitors who are with us today. I will ask you that you hold your applause until all our guests have been introduced. Please join me in welcoming the special guests of Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin, his father Mike, mother Robin, wife Jamie, daughters Bree and Ellie, and son Miles, and the special guests of Lieutenant Colonel Tope, her father David, mother Katie, sister Erin, and brother Sam. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to the distinguished visitors in attendance today, including Chief Warrant Officer 5, Michael Corsaro and Mrs. Corsaro, the Garrison Command Team, Colonel John Miller and Command Sergeant Major Gary Williams, United States Army Aviation and Missile Command Combined Logistics Command Team, Colonel Timothy Harloff and Sergeant Major Devin Weber, U.S. Coast Guard Flight Training Liaison Officer Captain Brian Kostecki, and Deputy Liaison Officer, Commander Brian Hedges, Colonel Dennis K. Hill, Commander, 110th Aviation Brigade, Colonel Shane Devlin, Commander, 908th Operations Group, and Colonel Retired Kyle Taylor. And finally, to all the friends, family, and fellow military members who have joined us for this significant occasion, welcome. At this time, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem and the invocation given by Chaplain Rhodes. Chaplain Rhodes, will you please come forward to deliver the invocation?
Let us pray. Almighty God, to you we offer the dedication and sacrifice of every professional within the 23rd Flying Training Squadron family. These warriors serve our nation with unwavering commitment, enduring through blood, sweat, and tears. We are grateful for these indispensable warriors, and may their character be the cornerstone of our future. Today we honor Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin for his dedicated service as commander. His commitment and leadership have been invaluable. We ask for continued blessings upon his leadership as he transitions. May the Coughlin family depart with abundant blessing and peace. We also lift up to you new commander, Lieutenant Colonel Sidney Tope and her family. We ask for successful integration into the 23rd family and operations. Grant abundant blessings and guide her with wisdom to navigate the challenges of the mission. May she serve as an exemplar model and mentor with a backbone of integrity. May this sacred leadership opportunity be embraced with fullest trust and responsibility. And lastly, we ask for your blessing and guidance for every warrior and leader who protects and serves our great nation. Guard their minds, hearts, and spirits as they undertake their exhaustive and life-giving work. May the precious lies behind this protective shield experience safety and peace. In your name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Rhodes, for those inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The squadron will now be presented to the presiding officer. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander, 58th Operations Group, Colonel Lane Cook.
Hey, good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing okay, had a good morning, and mostly thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm truly honored to have the opportunity to be here, to share this time with all of you, with the men and women of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Coach with you, Cindy with you as well. Thank you so much for this invitation. It really is an honor to be back here at the home of Rotary Wing Aviation. You know, I got a pretty big group and I get to do this kind of a lot. But frankly, no matter how many times I have to stand up here to take part in something like a change of command, I'm consistently amazed by the effort that goes into making these events happen. The things that have to be done to pull all of this together, to make the space look like this, and as always, the museum looks amazing, so thanks to the Army team for that. But to pull these kinds of efforts together takes a ton of work. It doesn't just happen overnight, and so I want to say thanks to a few folks who had a big hand in making that happen. Chaplain, thanks so much. Really appreciate your words. Thanks for helping watch out for this team and be with us today. For the team that pulled this all together and is making this work, thank you. Shotgun, Wedge, Sergeant Brooks, Sergeant Gregorsiewicz, thanks for making us look less goofy as we try to accomplish this and make you guys look good. All of you folks here at the 23rd have an amazingly challenging mission, but also an extraordinarily rewarding one. Creating the Air Force's only pipeline of vertical lift aircraft and pilots and special mission aviators takes a ton of work, and so taking the time out from doing that important mission comes at a huge cost, and so we say thank you for that. I also want to take a minute and recognize probably the most important folks here, and that's the people who are sitting up here in the front row. Jamie, I'll start with you. Thank you. We probably can't say that enough to you, but thank you for your efforts on behalf of the nation, the Air Force, the squadron. We owe so much to our dedicated families, and especially the spouses who give so much behind the scenes. We can't pay enough debt to the work that you guys do, and so just take my thank you as at least a small part of that. Bree, Ellie, and Miles, thanks. Thanks for sharing your dad with this team. Flying squadrons are weird places, and they are filled with weirder people. None of the things that you guys kind of endure on a day-to-day basis are normal, and so we appreciate it. We appreciate you sharing your dad with this group, and we'll look forward to you guys having a great next opportunity as you guys head off to the Dakotas. Mike and Robin, we are truly, truly fortunate to have people show up on a daily basis who are willing to raise their hand, put on this uniform, and join service of this nation. And what I know is that that doesn't come on its own with just the individual. It starts at home. And so thank you for raising a son that came to join this team, that led this team in such an honorable way. And so we owe you a debt of gratitude for that. So thank you. To the Tope family, David, Katie, Sam, Aaron, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us in this really, really special occasion to recognize an enormous moment in Cindy's life. We are lucky to have folks like her joining our team to take on an extraordinarily challenging job. And we appreciate the things that you have done over the course of her life to set her on a path where she could take on this extraordinary task. To all of our other distinguished guests, thanks. Thanks for being here, Colonel Miller, Sergeant Major Williams. Thanks for what you guys do on the Army side to help take care of this team. It is not a small task, and we really appreciate it. To my Coast Guard brother, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining this team and helping us move out in a really cool direction for Joint Air Force and Coast Guard training into the future. And for all the other senior leaders who joined us here today, thanks for taking the time out of your day to recognize an extraordinary moment for these two and for this unit. All right, Coach. 2 years ago, you took command, and it was a pretty significant time in the history of not only this unit, but also the Air Force's approach to training. The Air Force had managed to find itself in the middle of a pilot training crisis, and that drove a decision to split rotary wing training off from the rest of the fixed wing pipelines. And ultimately, the responsibility for building all of our rotary wing pipeline fell on you and your team. As a geographically separated unit, living on an Army post, hours away from the nearest Air Force installation and any semblance of administrative support that they might have thought to provide, you then were charged with an extraordinarily small task. Set up helicopter training next, build rotary wing introduction to flight training, revitalize an enlisted aviator training program, renovate a squadron building, not to mention add Coast Guard training to your portfolio. And do that all while starting to figure out how to receive brand new second lieutenants and enlisted airmen to their first true duty station in the Air Force. Like I said, a very small task on your hands. But despite those challenges, your team crushed them. You crushed every single one of those goals. You incorporated cutting-edge technology to transform the way our students learn. You modernized the training that had been largely unchanged for the last 15 years. And you set what will make the Air Force better as a baseline of excellence that will serve every single one of the aviators that came through the doors while you were in command. It will serve them for years to come. In addition to all of that, you fostered all of the critical relationships with our Army partners. You did that despite executing the largest flying hour program in the squadron's history, not to mention the entire 58th Special Operations Wing. But that success really didn't come because of the actions of you on your own. Rather, it was because of your leadership with this team and building an entire team. And frankly, that's the most important thing you've done while you've been here at the 23rd. You built a leadership team that's functioning at the highest level, a support team that's onboarding and managing an enormous number of individuals, and an instructor cadre that is teaching at the highest level. Some of the highest praise a squadron commander can receive is that when you walk away, the organization doesn't miss a beat. And I'm confident that that's going to be the case here at the 23rd. You've led them well. They're well prepared to succeed with Cindy at the helm. And so congratulations. Congratulations on a very successful command tour, and good luck in your next efforts at the 95th at Offutt. Cindy? No pressure. I have some bad news, because now it's all on you. I'm not gonna lie, the stakes are pretty high. The 23rd, as you know, having been here for the last 2 years as the DO, as the sole vertical lift pipeline feeding every community in the Air Force, is relying on your leadership and the efforts of your team. Air Force Special Operations Command, Global Strike Command, Air Combat Command, Pacific Air Forces, the Air Force District of Washington, Air Forces Europe, every single geographic combatant command is now counting on you to produce the next generation of vertical lift operators and leaders. We've seen this squadron execute an enormous amount of change over the last few years, and now it's going to be up to you to look at that change, to evaluate it, to take your team and see what's working and what's not, to figure out where the changes need to come to keep things on track, to keep our pipeline running, to ensure that every single one of the graduates who comes through here has the opportunity to go out and lead in this Air Force that's going to need their capability when they depart here. We need you to continue to seek new ways to make this the very best undergraduate training program in the Air Force. Continue to challenge the status quo, empower your team to make decisions, give them maneuver space, and then let them run. Give them the top cover when they need it, and let them grow. Even more than that, we need you to take care of these airmen. The world's changing rapidly, and now more than ever, we need to strengthen the Air Force family, and you are exactly the right person to lead us into those next steps. Congratulations. Congratulations on this next phase of your career. I can't wait to see what the great things that you and this team are going to do. Thank you again for everybody for the opportunity to be here, and let's make this thing official.
Thank you, Colonel Cook. Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin, please join Colonel Cook center stage for the medal presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Colonel Cook presents Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin with the Meritorious Service Medal. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States while assigned to the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, 58th Operations Group, 58th Special Operations Wing, Fort Novosel Army Installation, Alabama. Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin led 400 total force personnel as a geographically separated unit, graduating 550 instructors, student aircrew, and the first ever Coast Guard student pilots, feeding 8 major commands and fostering joint collaboration. His team executed and supported over 48,000 flight hours across 28 TH-1H and 6 Bell 505 helicopters, finalizing the transition from legacy programs to undergraduate helicopter training. He prioritized right-sizing $60 million in support contracts, increased vital unit manning positions by 12%, and drove Air Education and Training Command's highest priority in correcting mission planning impacting network outages. Finally, his proactive unit campaign resulted in immersions with 4 major commands and 5 numbered Air Force command teams, Army and Coast Guard general officers, 4 international military leadership teams, Headquarters Air Force staff visits, and 11 wing command teams, fostering exposure and significant leaps in support for the 23rd. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, Colonel Cook. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin, will now come forward to make his final remarks. Sir, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to our families, friends, mission partners, and distinguished guests of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. Before I get into it, Lieutenant Colonel Magnuson, please put the formation at ease during my 23-minute speech. There we go. I want our team to shake it out and listen up. Shake it out, get comfortable. 23 minutes, here we go. Yeah, almost had it. I'm going to dive into a list of thank yous. Also, I'm going to stick to my speech and not go off script too much because I have a bad habit of being verbose and starting everything off with it was a dark and stormy night, and then hours later finishing up and getting to my point. I know it's not in any order for those list of thank yous, and it's definitely not an all-inclusive list, as we'd be here for hours if I took the time to thank all those that contributed along the way to get to this occasion. First off, thank you to the Army Aviation Museum, the Fort Novosel Garrison Support Team, Protocol, Chaplain, the many members of the 23rd team spread out across the museum, those key players listed in the program, and just as important, all of the players that are not listed in the program that contributed countless hours behind the scenes to make the ceremony come together as a truly remarkable milestone. Thank you to all the command and support teams that gave my squadron and I the tools to succeed, including the Army Aviation Center of Excellence, the Fort Novosel Garrison Team, the United States Coast Guard, the 42nd Air Base Wing, the 908th Flying Training Wing, the 58th Special Operations Wing, our key support liaisons, 23rd family members, numerous contract mission partners, and multiple levels of leaders and support staffs across our Department of Defense. I greatly appreciate your support, your mentorship, and patience over my last 2 years while my squadron sometimes ran with scissors to get ahead of the game and helping us craft probably the best and greatest squadron in the wing. He's probably. Colonel Cook, thank you for your leadership and trust in me to do this job far from the flagpole in Albuquerque. There we go. Your support and advocacy gave me the needed autonomy and authority to get our mission done, and for that, I thank you. Cindy, thank you for your leadership and friendship. Your support, ideas, and curiosity drove me to be a better commander. You helped me solidify our team by ensuring all direction and intent was clear and concise, and I know the 23rd is in great hands with you, Magnuson, and Regina leading the charge. A special thanks to your family for their support. They should be very proud of you on this day, and I look forward to hearing how well the 23rd does under your command. Eric, stoic Eric over there, thank you for being my sounding board, my mentor, and a friend. Your leadership, dedication, and care for our airmen is inspiring and second to none. To Reagan, Porter, and Riley, Jamie, the kids, and I are so thankful for your friendship and the energy you brought to our team. I wish you all the best and know the 54th Helicopter Squadron is getting one of the best individuals that I have ever met. Next, to my family, Ben and Denise, Nadia and Billy, thank you for all the support through the last few years, helping with countless after-school pickups, late-night concerts, last-minute sleepovers, and sugar-high grandkids. We were so lucky to have had you here for the last 4 years, and our family is in a better place because of it. Mom and Dad, thank you so much for making the long trip down here, again, from South Dakota, and a special shout-out, it's kind of an interruption to this, congratulations on celebrating only a week ago your 50th wedding anniversary. Thank you for teaching me the value of hard work, respect, and curiosity in people. I owe all of my successes to you both. Dad, I also blame you for my inability to not want to go talk to strangers. And for that, I also wish you this upcoming Happy Father's Day. And for all the dads out there that encourage their kids to just go out of their way to go talk to anybody that's standing around, because he probably knows pretty much everybody's story in here by now. To my kids, Bree, Ellie, and Miles, your military child resiliency is incredible to watch, but I know it was not without sacrifice. You just ticked off another home, said goodbye to more friends, you're leaving the 23rd family, and still don't know what to say when somebody asks you where you're from. You can close your mouth, Miles. This next move is a special one since it's the last I'm asking you to make as a military child. Though I'm going to be a few hours away during the week at Offutt Air Force Base, you'll finally get to make your own house and have your forever home that you guys can decorate however you like. I love you so much and am very glad that I get to be your dad. I'm a robot for emotion, so at least that's what my better half says. Jamie, I know you've been waiting for this day a lot longer than anyone. Thank you for your continued support and resiliency during this demanding assignment. You are the rock in our family, routinely performing as a single parent while I'm away. You've continued to pursue your own career, work towards completing your master's, maintained a welcoming and warm, healthy home, and you've mothered our children day in and day out with some complaints. You and the kids are my greatest success. I love you. Now to my squadron. Thank you for being disciplined professionals and striving for excellence in all we do. You built an accomplished reputation over the years with the highest respect amongst our joint team and international partners. Thank you for putting up with my weird sayings, like making milk, my routine references to 80s and 90s movies and children's book quotes. Thank you for listening to my lessons learned from my most recent audiobook, which still counts as reading, and entertaining my squadron analogies like growing stronger grass and mission command mountaintop expeditions. We've had so many significant ups and downs these past few years that shaped this unit and built the strong culture we have today. Share it and protect it. Ensure all after you see the same high-performing unit we have today, since you know my take on the importance of reputation. I'm grateful to have shared the time and space with the team and know your future successes will continue to inspire airmen, train aircrew, and develop leaders. I do have one request, since I'm not going to get to outbrief with everybody sitting in this room. Please, for my 23rd members, pull out your phones at this time. I know it's taboo. We said put your phones away, put them on silent. Pull them out. Everybody pull them out. Students as well. I have a request. So for my student side of the house, pick a day 1 year after your scheduled graduation. Find it on the calendar. I know you got to scroll quite a bit, but go find that. 1 year after your scheduled graduation. For my cadre, please pick a 12 to 18 month day from now. Pause just a second, because it takes a little bit of time to scroll that way over if you don't know how to drop down to the year. Okay, everybody's got it? My request, add a reminder to send a direct email to me at daniel.coughlin@us.af.mil. That's right. Good job, Miles. I'll still be enjoying snow days and minus 20-degree temps up at Offutt Air Force Base. I started this almost a year and a half ago, not quite when I took command, and it was something that has started paying huge dividends in just keeping connection and learning more about our people and what happens after they depart here. Why? I've made a lot of decisions in this position, and on behalf of the squadron, over those many years, I will get to see very few of those. Okay? I don't judge my time here with what happened while I was in the seat, but rather what happens with you all and the 23rd for years to come. You are all the legacy of my command experience. So with that, I request you send me a few lines, as many or as few as you like, on what is happening in your life, where you are at, and where you plan to go from there. Any references to our time at the 23rd is much appreciated, but I'm mainly interested in just hearing about what's going on with you and where you're at that time. Now you can put your phones away and make sure they're still on silent. Okay. Finally, as is tradition, I'll end my time with a phrase that hung on my wall these past 4 years at the 23rd and for many assignments prior throughout my career. I've offered them to every student class I've been processed as a way to contribute their best during their time here. This phrase is what I've come to live by, and I hope that it helps you all as you lead at your level during and after your time here in probably the best squadron in the Air Force. I did elevate that from wing to Air Force. In the wise words of Dr. Seuss, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Lead at your level, care for one another, take time to make milk, grow stronger grass, and lead your team up that mountain. Head towards that vertical lift center of excellence we strive to be. Thank you, Team 23. Nail 'em.
The men and women representing the 23rd Flying Training Squadron will now render their final salute to Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin would like to recognize his family for their unwavering support throughout his command. A bouquet of red roses is presented to his wife, Jamie, in appreciation for her enduring love, strength, and sacrifice. A single red rose is presented to each of his daughters, Bree and Ellie, as a symbol of the joy, pride, and resilience they have brought to this journey. Finally, a small token of appreciation is presented to his son, Miles, in gratitude for the light and spirit he brings to their family. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause as we thank the Coughlin family. We will now perform the official change of command. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the publishing of the order. Attention to orders. Special Order Number G 25018, dated 12 June 2025. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin relinquishes command of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, and Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Tope assumes command by order of Colonel Lane Cook, Commander, 58th Operations Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Tope. Ma'am, the podium is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. First, thank you to the many hands that made today's ceremony possible. I want to echo a special thanks to Captain Bourne for leading the planning. Also, I want to issue a thank you to our troop commander, Lieutenant Colonel Magnuson, also our incoming Director of Operations. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I know you're going to do an amazing job. I'd also like to send my thanks to Ms. Valdez, Captain DeSimone, Lieutenant Grafe, Chaplain Rhodes, Captain Villanueva, Captain Johnson, and Master Sergeant McElroy for their exceptional contributions to today's events. Also, special thanks to Tech Sergeant Gregorsiewicz and Sergeant Brooks for the work that they did on setting up today's ceremony and protocol, and to our named and unnamed helpers today who chipped in, making our squadron shine for our guests and families. It did not go unnoticed, and I am very grateful. I also want to thank the entire Army Aviation Center of Excellence, and our garrison leadership for the incredible support that we get every single day. We would not be able to do our mission without you. Colonel Cook, thank you for trusting me, first as the Director of Operations for the last 2 years, and now with the privilege of leading the 23rd. I am humbled by the opportunity to lead the men and women of the 23rd and growing alongside them through these leadership challenges. Coach, your optimism, leadership, and mentorship have been a steadying presence. If you want it, we have a grad speaker spot lined up for you in 2027 so that you have given us enough time to make milk and you can see how the ship is sailing. Jamie, Reagan, Eric, and Guy, thank you so much. It has been an honor to serve alongside of you as part of the command team. I've enjoyed getting to know you and your families and build something special here. I truly believe that you have made this, and Jess, sorry, you also joined the Key Support Liaison team. You have made this a place that people want to come back to time and time again, so thank you so much for doing that. I am looking forward to working with Christy Magnuson when she gets here, as well as Jess Phillips. You will now be our experienced Key Support Liaison, and also Ashley Sorrow as she's joining our team. Thank you so much. You have no idea how grateful I am for your friendship and also your willingness to extend the tent of your own family to our airmen and their families to make sure that they're taken care of. To my parents, brother, and sister, they drove 15 hours with 2 70-pound dogs just to be here from Kansas. That says a lot about love, support, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Thank you so much for teaching me those lessons, as well as the value of hard work and valuing the differences in others. Above all, you taught me to finish what I start. I'm standing here today because of your unwavering support. To the members of the 23rd, our active duty, Guard, Reserve, civilians, and contractors, in the past 2 years, we've faced many challenges. We've mourned loved ones and teammates. We've worked through resource constraints and dealt with infrastructure and network issues. Through all of that, your creativity, grit, and teamwork carried us through, and we trained over 300 of the best airmen in the world. Looking ahead, I am excited. We've said that word a lot this week, and I've defined it for many people because it means so much to different people. I am excited to see what we'll accomplish in the next 2 years. Let me close with a truth that becomes clearer to me with every assignment. No one can do this alone. We're shaped by the people around us, those who lead by their fearless example, those who step up unbidden to offer a hand when it looks like we need it. As a training squadron, this ingredient for building a dominant and winning Air Force, which is people first, is embodied in our core priorities: to inspire airmen, to train aircrew, and develop leaders. I look forward to continuing this mission with each of you. Thank you. Let's get to work.
The men and women representing the 23rd will now render their first salute to Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Tope as commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. Thank you for joining us for today's special occasion. You are invited to join Lieutenant Colonel Tope and her family at this time for a welcome reception in the Squadron Heritage Room. This concludes today's ceremony.